Okay. Yeah, this is all looking good. Cool.
Okay. Have you got an intro you want to try?
Just a generic things, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Hello and welcome to our first expletives included generic podcast. Henceforth to be known just as the expletives included podcast. We've come to the end of our Steven Universe podcast. We've come to the end of season 1, so now we're just going to talk at you for an hour or so. I think we are going to try to aim for just an hour for the first one, just kind of see how it goes, see if we think it's high quality, see if we can kind of keep up the pace, keep up the energy, keep talking about things. That and Keir has to leave for food in about an hour, so... Keir,
it's pizza night.
It's pizza night, of course. Anything you want to add, Keir?
Well, I was going to try and make a joke about generic brands, but I've already forgotten what I was going to say.
Yes! This is exactly what we want in our first episode.
Yes! High energy puntasticness.
Jokes which go missing before they're even said.
Jokes!
Is it that's probably better than them falling flat on their face? Maybe.
Well, they've just got stage fright. It's fine.
It's fine.
We don't normally do jokes on this channel.
We don't judge.
Oh, we do, just
All
silently
the time,
with
yes.
with furrowed brows.
Well, in the case of what was her name? The artist that no one likes in Steven Universe.
Oh, Helen Jo.
Helen Jo, because we were actually quite vocal in our silent judging of Helen Jo.
Yeah, but to be fair, we were a lot nicer than Co generally is.
Yeah, but is that really saying anything?
Hey, as long as I'm not as big an asshole as 4chan, I think I've got the moral high ground.
Okay, so to start off with, we have kind of come to the end of our run of our Steven Universe kind of podcast. So the first thing we decided to talk about today was Steven Universe.
Yep, because I have unshackled Dan and he can now watch the entire series.
Which I did in about 5-6 days.
I got so many messages of, I don't want to go to work today, I just want to watch Steven.
Yeah. And now that it's all gone, I'm quite disappointed.
That it's gone?
Say again?
In that it's gone, or that you're disappointed?
I think I watched them way too fast, because I can't really remember what happens. I just indulged. It's like when you can drink occasionally and it's very nice. You enjoy the taste. You enjoy kind of everything. You maybe get a little tipsy and you remember it. And then you kind of like have one night where you just drink everything and you can't remember anything that you did. You probably had fun, but you probably regretted it. But you don't even know. That's what happened. I got drunk on Steven Universe, and all I know is that feels happened, and there was like I love you, I hate you. There was a lot of it was an average night out.
Yeah, I don't do either of those things.
No.
So.
And also I kind of, because like with the rewatch podcast, I would always kind of watch them and then I'd watch them again, possibly a third time, and then we would like talk about them for 2 hours.
Yeah. And
now we don't, and I kind of missed it. I think I messaged you as well, like saying, oh man, I really miss like just exploring and talking and doing all this stuff, and now it's just, now that's gone.
I miss us talking, man. Remember when we did stuff together?
We used to talk. We would just like sit down and be like, this cartoon's awesome. For 2 hours, we wouldn't really say anything, but it was like 2 hours of just like, yeah. So rather than like talking for 2 hours just like on like 2 episodes, now I've watched like 20, 21. How many?
22.
Say again?
22 maybe?
22. Yeah, like 22. Like I think because you said they're on hiatus for a while now because Cartoon Network are awful.
They are the straight worst.
Because everything is on hiatus. Like Gravity Falls is on hiatus. We Bare Bears is on hiatus. I can't remember. Did you say that?
Well, Gravity Falls hasn't got another episode till November 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
We Bare Bears has a fairly erratic schedule anyway.
Mm-hmm.
so I'm never sure when
I
that's
think
on.
Gravity Falls is pretty erratic, to be honest.
Yeah.
Steven's
you
on
may-
hiatus. Is this
till
because
ne-
it's like mid-season, or
No, because we should be starting the fall season. We should be midway through the fall season. The Amazing World of Gumball is on hiatus, and Steven's on hiatus till next year. Clarence is on hiatus for I don't know how long. And I think so is Uncle Grandpa. So it's literally just Teen Titans Go at the moment.
Teen Titans Go all of the time? I actually, well, are we going to keep talking about? Are we just going to talk about Teen Titans Go now? Because we
can talk about
we're a
whatever
general
we
podcast.
want.
We can pick things up. We can go on tangents. We can ignore what we were just saying. We can do anything. We can disappoint people by pretending that we're going to talk about the first kind of half of a half season of Steven Universe, and then just Teen Titans. We can be like Cartoon Network.
You know what? The way I converse is in a series of ever-widening tangents. So that's what this show should be.
Maybe that could be a title. A series of ever-divergent tangents.
Ever-widening tangents.
Whatever.
You know, it's like a fractal pattern in conversation.
It's a bit hard to remember. I forgot it after 5 seconds.
But I think I know what our image should be.
Oh, just like a fractal snowflake.
No, it should be like a generic brand cereal. Expletives included podcast. No nutritional value.
I like that. Yeah, I do like that. I'll get to work.
Yeah, that's your job now.
Yeah, I haven't drawn in... I want to say a few months. It could be a few years. I have no idea. So yeah, I was just being hipster scum today. I was in Costa drinking coffee and drawing.
To be fair, you didn't have your Mac out, so...
It's true, I didn't have a Mac. Phew. And I didn't go to Starbucks and get a spiced pumpkin latte, so I say I was being hipster scum. I'm actually quite safe.
Well, I think you're only allowed to do the latter part if you have a uterus.
Really? I thought it was all hipster scum who had the spiced pumpkin lattes.
As far as I'm aware, it's a mainly thing with women. At least that's who talk about it, from what I've seen.
That's true. I think it was either last year or the year before. Can't remember, but I was out with a few people, and it was definitely the girls who were all spiced pumpkin lattes. And this year, the people who I work with, it's the girls who are spiced pumpkin latte.
I know when I was in London a couple of years ago, I would hang out in coffee shops sometimes because I was alone, and it was always women who ordered that. As I said, coffee shops in London are weird because there's that sort of London. You do not notice anyone else. You are an island unto yourself, while crammed in this tiny space
with 50 other people.
Yeah, and everyone hates you if you take the comfy leather sofa.
So you have to be in a protective bubble of a group of people.
Yeah, that's why mothers band together, I think. I think it's a kind of herd instinct. So then, 10 mothers with strollers that are the size of small cars come in, all order pumpkin spiced lattes with various things, various forms of diet and low milk and low sugar type crap. And then they take up the entirety of the shop.
Fun.
Yeah. People tried to convince me that we should go to coffee shops to work, because this particularly happened around the university because it was in a suburban part of London. Sort of, there's London suburbs, then there's inner London suburbs, if that makes sense.
Possibly.
But you have to remember, London's actually 2 cities in one.
You've got Greater London and then kind of London.
Well, you have the City of London, then you have London.
Okay.
They are 2 legally distinct cities.
And yeah, you say 2 different types of suburban London. I don't kind of follow that because I've only got 2 levels. I've got rural, and then this is too urban, get me out.
Yeah, because there's suburban London, which is actual suburbia, sort of post-war suburbia. Then there's inner London suburbia, which is Victorian and has tube access.
Okay.
There are when I was there, they were actually planning to extend lines out into the post-war suburbia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened with that. Because it was a big debate at the time, and I was because they just throw newspapers at you in London.
Yeah, I think I have noticed that like once or twice.
Hmm. Yeah. It's surprisingly how literate the people are.
Say again?
It's surprising how literate the people are there.
Hmm.
You know, everyone reads.
Are you sure they don't just kind of grab the newspapers to kind of stuff in their clothes to keep them warm?
Well, that's what I did, but you know. That's because my landlord refused to fix my heating for a couple of months.
Well, yeah, that would have been expensive. You can't spend money in London.
Yeah, but you know, that was during a very cold winter.
Mm.
I'm not. Well, oh yeah, we were on pumpkin spice lattes.
Coffee in coffee shops, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, coffee shops are weird, and you're hipster scum for doing stuff in them other than consuming coffee.
Well, I was consuming coffee as well, and it was like normal coffee. It wasn't any of these. I wasn't like drinking a baby chino, frappuccino, vanilla essence, pumpkin, whatever. It's just coffee with milk.
With your face drawn on it with cocoa powder or whatever.
No, just coffee with milk. You have to call it an Americano, but it's still basically just coffee with milk.
Yeah, I think they named it. That was originally just a joke made by Italians. That's like Americans don't know how to make coffee, do they?
I remember there's a place in Shrewsbury that I go to that kind of like has a board which says that Americano is a term that kind of dates back to World War One or Two. And that's like always where I stop reading. So
it's like, that's almost a full sentence. I best stop now.
I wouldn't want to absorb too much information through reading. Ugh. No.
Yeah. Well, I'm an espresso snob, so.
It's like, why would you have a big coffee, which will take time to drink, and thus kind of force you to be around people more, when you could have the exact same amount of coffee, but in a tiny cup?
Yeah. You know, it's like...
Just down it in one shot, and then boom, out the door.
Well, it's like, if I can get it, I have Turkish coffee, which comes in basically a thimble.
Mm-hmm, okay.
It's practically coffee syrup. It's just that concentrated.
Nice.
It is tiny, and it's just like... I have the power!
I remember a few years ago, maybe they still exist, because I think I only ever saw them again in London, because I used to like just quaff energy drinks like 2 a day, and not like just a can of Red Bull, like the proper half-litre cans of like Relentless and Monster.
That smell disgusting.
Say again?
That smell disgusting.
Well, it's weird because you say like all of it smells disgusting. I remember I used to drink Monster and Relentless, but then after a time I kind of just stopped drinking Monster. It was just Relentless, and then like one time Monster was on offer, and I just thought, yeah, I'll buy a couple.
Mm-hmm.
I started to drink it, and it just made me want to vomit. I couldn't get through the can. I had to give it away.
I think I remember that day happening.
And I was just so shocked. It's like, I love energy drinks. I used to drink this all the time. I used to be like Monster, Relentless, Monster, and ugh. It was weird.
Yeah, well, mainly it's because they'd be sitting in my room and it's like, oh god, that stinks.
Possibly.
I guess I have to clean. As anyone who knows me knows, I hate cleaning.
Yeah.
With a fiery passion. Sometimes literally.
You interrupted and said about it being disgusting. I talked about Monster. But originally, I was going to say, in London, because I was at the MCM Expo at the XR Centre, which I haven't been to in a while. We've just missed one, which is kind of a shame. But yeah, I've got like my proper job now, and like you can actually get holidays around like the school holiday season, because we're not kind of based around... Well, our busy period isn't like when the cons are. So hopefully I'll get back to them, even though I'm now saving more money and can't really afford to go down to London. Back to the story. They used to do like Relentless like shots.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like a small, like, I think they might have called them bullets, like a Relentless bullet, Relentless shot. The pun is obvious. And it was just like caffeine in it didn't taste very nice, but it was just like this Turkish coffee, just boom, shake, and then so I'm awake. But it's like that really annoying, jittery kind of awake. Like energy drinks, they're always like, oh yeah, it keeps you concentrated. It's like, no, if you drink too much,
you get the shakes.
You get the shakes, and you can't concentrate, and your mind is just buzzing, and you can't kind of focus and do work. There's only
you get the ADHD.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember they banned this a while ago, but it was really popular when we were in school? Kick. It was a energy drink that you could buy in Tesco's. It was their own brand thing, and it was sort of stupidly pure caffeine.
Possibly.
I
Did they
don't
ban
know
it at school, or did they ban Tesco from selling it? Because I don't.
They banned it in school, and then Tesco's banned it. They stopped producing it, I think.
Oh, was that was in like a silver bottle?
Yeah.
People used to drink tons of that stuff.
Yeah, and it was sort of absurdly pure caffeine.
And yeah, like, what is it? Most like energy drinks like don't serve to children, like don't serve to children under 13. I think like everyone at secondary school drank this, which is it's kind of like it's 12 to 16 ish.
Yeah, but they brought in that policy after we went to school, and I think it was around this particular drink that they brought it in.
Fair.
Because, I mean, I never drank it because I
might have drank it once or twice when I was desperate, but I was kind of a purist with my energy drinks.
I just drink Pepsi.
Say again?
And I just drink Pepsi, so I like the sweetness.
Oh god, I got kind of paranoid about sugar. Sometimes I'm like, ugh, sugar, and the other time it's like, well, this sugar one is on offer. But yeah, I do occasionally have energy drinks now, but I tend to, because I just go past this garage, like when I'm walking to work, and if I kind of like have the money to spare, then I'll just kind of buy a sugar-free Red Bull, just like a small can. That's all I kind of really get now. And that's maybe once or twice a week, which is, it's still probably too much, because it's like, I don't know, it's a luxury item.
Though you do drink coffee now. You do drink coffee just in general now.
Ooh, yeah, free coffee at work.
Well, and you often have coffee before we record these and such.
Yes, because coffee is like a good level of caffeine. It doesn't make you jittery. It's just nice. Coffee is just all around perfect. Apart from Costa coffee, which I had earlier today. That's because it's the Americano from Costa is quite strong, and it can like occasionally stop me from sleeping.
Really?
Well, not. It doesn't stop me from sleeping. So like I will usually go to bed between 10 and 12. If I have like a Costa coffee, then actually I can't remember because this is a while ago. I don't go into Costa very often now because, again, money. But I would always have like probably two coffees, and that would kind of keep me up till about like 1 a.m, maybe a bit later, which when I could generally have to be up for work every day wasn't good for my sleep pattern. So I kind of went to like having one Costa coffee and one decaf Costa coffee, and that kind of helped. So I don't know like what time I'll sleep tonight, but no.
Well, to transition from coffee, I'd like to talk about a book I recently read.
Actually, wasn't I talking about something? Because
it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
No, we were talking about Teen Titans Go.
It's gone.
It's gone. Okay. Before that, we were talking about Steven Universe.
It's gone.
It's gone.
We can come back to that later, maybe. But just
maybe
on the note of sort of drinks, I recently read a book called Zen and the Art of Tea, which is was all about the Japanese tea ceremony. A very interesting book, because I've been reading a lot of Buddhist tracts and stuff about Zen Buddhism and such, and it's very interesting because this entire elaborate ritual is designed around this drink that was used to keep people up.
To keep people up, to keep them awake.
Yeah, the reason tea became popular in monasteries is so that monks would stay awake longer while copying texts, right? Which is
they were modern-day students.
Pretty much. Which is interesting because you compare that to Western monks and they had wine. Which
helped them get to sleep.
Yeah, well, they didn't really sleep, monks, Vespers. So that's why it got popular. And then it sort of, they had to basically go, no, this is legit religious stuff. We have this ritual where Bob does this thing, and then we sit here and look at pretty stuff. And yeah, it's totally religious, and we just need more tea, please.
So, like an addiction, they became addicted to tea, or
kind of. It's that, and then it sort of got imported to Japan, where it kind of reached its zenith. Pun. Sort of went into the aristocracy and such because of Nobuo Uematsu. During that whole shogunate uprising, and so there's this sort of, I think it's the earliest example I've found of poser culture.
Nice. I approve.
Because there's this this idea of tranquility, but also of it's very difficult to explain. It's kind of like a beloved rusticness. So one of the examples they tell is how there was this guy who was considered the great tea master, and he complimented this one guy's tea caddy, that became very prized, and so got traded around all these other guys who were like, I want to be a tea master, because there's this whole ritual of gift exchanging with these kind of things, and eventually it got broken, and then got put back together really badly. I mean, it still worked as a tea caddy, but just had some really sort of, the patterns were broken and that kind of stuff. And eventually it came round back to the tea master seeing it again, and he was like, that is now truly beautiful. So before it was nice, now it is truly beautiful. I think this is the predecessor to that Japanese art where you take a broken thing and sort of layer gold and silver to fix it together again. There's some wonderful examples of that in the British Museum. But anyway, there's all these stories of this tea master and then his sons and his sort of disciples going around to like nobles' houses who are trying desperately to create this atmosphere. So sort of you have to have your tea room in this thatched hut that's no more than 10 foot by 10 foot. All of your tea making materials have to be handmade. There has to be a beautiful piece of art. There has to be one cut flower in a vase, that kind of thing. And
then someone would come round and judge you.
Yes, basically. And then there had to be a very specifically arranged garden to the hut with a bowl with which you could clean yourself and all. I think that might actually be sort of connected to the Zen garden that eventually develops. But so there's all these stories of they come a bit early and there's like leaves and cherry blossoms on the floor, and then they go in and the master's like, because this man doesn't have, it's like watabe or something like that, true watabe, when we go out again he will have cleaned the leaves. Completely arbitrary rules.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
because he does not have watabe, he must go out and clean the leaves.
No, because he does not have watabe, he will do this, and that will prove he's a poser.
What is watabe?
It's sort of this sense of tranquility with the rustic and harmony of life. It's a weird Zen concept that's many-folded, but it's just sort of this weird poser culture that arrived among this merchant who became a Buddhist monk, kind of, and basically just went around judging rich people when they tried to sort of look poor and authentic.
So basically he was, if he goes out and cleans the leaves, then he's evidently trying too hard.
Which is pretty much like that, because he does not see the true beauty in the leaves on the path, type thing. Which is very Zen, but it's also, this is poser culture.
It is entirely poser culture. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of a Dylan Moran bit where he's like talking about like Buddhist sayings or some kind of Eastern religion. Just about how. Oh, say again.
Like koans.
Say again.
Koans, you know, if a tree falls in the forest.
I think so. He basically he's just trying to explain how none of it makes any sense. There are two monks walking across a bridge in the autumn, and one of them says, "The cherry blossoms are beautiful this time of year." Another replies, "Ah, yes, but I am very tall." And that's it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's yeah, what?
Well, it's like The Simpsons answers the what is the sound of one hand clapping?
Oh, it's easy.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that came up.
I heard it, but you know, just hitting the palm of your hand with your fingers.
Yeah. And if a tree... I don't know, because there are a few, because someone's trying to... Is it the one where Bart kind of puts No, he puts menus. He puts menus on people's doors, and it's only when he kind of understands these Buddhist philosophies that he becomes a true ninja. And can do it like properly, or is it like Lisa trying to teach him something?
It's Lisa. The episode I'm thinking of is Lisa teaching him this so he can take part in a mini golf tournament.
Oh yes,
because he overthinks everything.
Because
Homer's advice is just
she like says, if a tree falls in the woods, no one's around to hear it. It doesn't make a sound. It's like, yeah, obviously. What is the sound of one hand clapping? And then there's like something which she actually says, which makes him go, "Oh."
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what that is?
I can't remember that bit because it wasn't a funny bit of the episode. And I just remember Homer like pins this picture of a kid to his to Bart's mirror and is like, "You have to stare at him every day, and I want you to hate him. You get right up in his face and kiss him."
Yeah, because he's like facing off against Flanders, and it ends up with them being a draw or something.
Yeah.
Because it's evidently just like a feud between the parents, and they just don't really care.
Yeah. Also, mini golf is a weird thing.
Mm.
You know that it's in both Gravity Falls and Steven Universe as well. To take us way back.
Yeah. That was early.
Mm. Though I did like the Gravity Falls mini golf episode.
Yes.
Mainly because it had Patton Oswalt as one of the characters.
And I think Nathan Fillion was in that episode as well.
Was he?
Yeah, because he's because it had the who's like the posh people of Gravity Falls.
Oh, the Northwests.
Northwests, yes, it's around Patricia Northwest, not Patricia.
Yes, this was the start of her redemption arc.
Yeah, her father was in the episode like right at the end, but he's Nathan Fillion, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he is. And in the recent episode, that was fucked up.
Oh yeah, I was like, but this is a kids show.
Yeah, even Cole was like, "This is a kids show, guys."
Guys, yeah, that's the kind of thing you expect to see in Silent Hill. That's
well, you know, that's the kind of thing you expect on like a on an Adult Swim show.
It's the kind of thing I expect in Silent Hill.
Yeah, he plays Preston Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, didn't realise that, but yeah, cool.
I'm sure. I think you were the one who told me that.
Was I?
I think so. I think you're the only other person I know who watches Gravity Falls. So,
despite trying to get everyone else to watch it,
people watch what people watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a very Nathan Fillion voice though.
No, I didn't realise until I think I like saw in the credits or I saw on like somewhere else. You can recognise it, but it doesn't kind of stand out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like his character in Venture Brothers, Brown Widow. That's a very Nathan Fillion voice.
Is that out yet?
He's appeared in earlier episodes.
Oh, okay.
In fact, one of my favourite episodes.
It's been so long since I've watched.
It's been like 2 years since the last season, I think.
No, it wasn't even last season, because I think it like stopped mid-season. There was a mid-season break that lasted for 2 years.
Yeah, sounds about right. But it's Bright Lights Dean City.
Mm-hmm.
It's where Rusty goes to New York and wants to be a Broadway musical writer.
I completely forgotten that.
Yeah, it's a weird episode, but it's really fun, and Dean becomes Spider-Man's sidekick.
Weird.
In this case, played by Nathan Fillion.
Weird.
I mean, you know, I still think one of his best roles of recent is Richard Castle from Castle.
I actually haven't kind of watched all the way through that. I think I've only ever seen that with you, which just kind of shows how long ago that must have been.
Yeah. Well, it must have been around season 2 or 3.
I think it was like just around the point that it was getting kind of bad. Not bad, but you know, kind of just. It wasn't Castle anymore. It was just generic detective.
Yeah, that's season 2 and 3 are kind of, it goes generic, and I think that's executive producers messing with stuff.
I think
because season 1 is really well written, and like there's a really good father-daughter relationship going on.
Yeah, I think like one of the main drawbacks of like the later seasons was the daughter, in that she stopped being a character and she was just a device to give Nathan Fillion and Richard Castle the, oh yeah, this could have happened.
Yeah, and actually in the last couple of seasons they've really gone away from that.
So like it's going good again?
Yeah, I haven't watched the latest season because I forgot that it was on again. And it's sort of, it's one of those shows where it goes off and you're like, oh, that was fun. Oh, it's back on, awesome, type thing.
Cool. Yeah.
It's like they're now. I think last time I saw, Castle and Kate were now married.
Actually married?
Yeah.
Things changed?
Yeah. Which I think is great, because so many shows will do this, where it's will they, won't they? Oh, they're boyfriend, girlfriend, but they never go anywhere.
That's because usually once that element has disappeared, it does kind of remove something from the show. Like, I think... I can't remember, it might have been like TV tropes, or it might have just been like a article that was shared around the Facebooks, just talking about like will they, won't they relationships. And one of the examples they gave was the New Adventures of Superman, I think. The one which was on the TV show that was kind of like on when we were growing up. It was like the live action one with like, it was mainly Lois and Clark. And I think like there was a later season which was like the New Adventures of Lois and Clark.
Oh, was that the one where it wasn't really about Superman at all?
It kind of was, but Superman was like a kind of a secondary character. It was more about Clark Kent, I think.
Yeah, because I remember enjoying that one and liking the fact it was mainly about their relationship.
Yeah, but then like they kind of did the whole will they, won't they, and then they did, and everyone kind of agreed that it went downhill, and then they tried to salvage it by kind of messing around with stuff, which just made it go even worse. So it's kind of generally accepted that after they get married, you kind of ignore everything. You can even ignore the marriage if you want.
I haven't revisited that show, so I can't comment on it. I just remember enjoying it as a kid.
I remember enjoying it as a kid as well.
But then again, I remember enjoying The Tribe as a kid. You
mean The Tribe isn't good?
I rewatched some of it, and it's painful.
Oh no, I loved that. It was crazy. There was like the princess in the junkyard or something, and
and there were the cool tribes, the demon dogs, and all manner of stuff, and
there was like the mall, and
I
remember like seeing like maybe teens, early mid-teens, like The Tribe had a new season, and I remember like seeing it and just remembering that it was awful, and just I remember it's like, oh, this is nowhere near as good as like the original series, The Tribe. So, I mean, how does if it's already awful, how does it get worse?
Well, that is a good question. I mean, I went and watched season 1 and maybe season 2 a couple of years back. Yeah, it's kind of painful.
But yeah, the new season,
they actually had a spin-off show.
Say again?
They even had a spin-off show.
It might have been the spin-off show that I saw.
It was mainly about little kids.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was mainly little kids, and it just didn't seem right.
Yeah, that was actually produced by Lex, if you remember the character.
I think so. Was he like the main? Because I don't remember much. I remember. Like...
Oh. Sorry, fireworks, setting off the dogs.
Okay. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm just going to look at the fireworks, lean back in my chair.
I don't remember much, but I think it was like later on, where it started to get weird. There was like two people of like the main cast who actually had a kid.
Yeah.
And I don't remember like. I didn't like realize like the overplot. I missed like a lot of story episodes, so I didn't realize that there was like this plague that wiped out all adults and it was only kids left.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. I had to take a quick break.
Welcome back. So I can't remember. Basically, we were talking about the tribe, and I was talking about where I actually think like when I was younger, I noticed like quality going down, just because I thought it was kind of like a shark jump moment. Because I couldn't remember like all of the adults had gone.
Despite that being in every opening of the show.
It is like a long time since I've seen it. I don't know. Maybe I did realise, but...
to be honest, when you're little, it's not the kind of thing you'd pick up on. But sort of watching it again, it's like, oh, this is really heavily done.
And yeah, like two of the main cast, because I think you would bring up like one of the main characters. I think he like had a son or like had a daughter or something.
In the first season, one character, I think her name is Trudy. Yeah, it was really fucking annoying. She's pregnant and has a kid by the end of the season, I think. I only watched the first season and maybe the second one. And it's sort of only after that it gets really weird plot-wise.
The bit which I remember, which was really weird, which I kind of look back on and think this, and I think like when I was watching, I was a bit like, what? Was a cult formed around?
Yes,
this
that
baby.
was like season 3 through 5, maybe.
Yeah, that's where I remember it being. What is this? And then it was like all around the baby. Like I think the baby got kidnapped, and then I don't know. There was some weird stuff. But even that, I still think was better than like this spin-off that was like because it was all around teenagers. Which I don't know, for some reason, even like when I was younger and like not like the target audience, I don't think, because I think I was like younger than the target audience, which is why I kind of missed on all.
Which is why we liked it, I think.
Possibly. But yeah, like the little kids like spin-off just.
But actually, the show got weirder in later seasons.
Go on.
Because I watched it through to the end, I remember. Okay, so at a certain point after the cult thing, they somehow either found a cure or made a cure to the plague. So the older characters wouldn't die.
So had the plague... Because wouldn't the plague... If it has no hosts, because it only affects adults, wouldn't the plague
That's
go
too complicated
away?
for this show.
Okay.
You know, the main characters call themselves mole rats. But
so is this like?
I think it was sort of one of those where they did it was in everyone because everyone had to be inoculated.
Yeah. There was actually an Andromeda episode that was like that, where everyone was sick. But they were like all actually sick, so they all had this disease. They were all sick, and none of them kind of lived beyond this age. Whereas in the tribe, it doesn't like feel like any of them are actually sick.
No, in that episode of Andromeda, it was due to radiation.
Oh yes, it was radiation poisoning from. Oh yeah, because there were fighter jets that had like
because
nukes.
of Nova bombs. So they ended up curing it, which made the mole rats kind of de facto leaders of the area. Which led to Lex, the guy who went on to produce and actually directed a load of episodes and seems to be a very competent guy, to become sheriff of the city.
Okay.
which led to a bunch of people leaving and creating their own Wild West town.
Like, actually
Kind
Wild
of, they
West.
had like saloons and people wore dusters.
Oh, one sec. Okay, yeah, that sounds...
Now, this is not to be confused with the hippie commune farm that was also outside the city somewhere, where basically characters went to die. It's like, no, they've just gone to the farm.
I think there is a term. Is it like double shark jump?
Oh no, it gets better. It gets better.
It gets better than Wild West.
Yeah.
And hippie commune. Yeah. Okay, go on.
Then Techno Army invades. Led by a crippled kid. That's how they refer to him. Who they have like lasers.
Actual lasers.
Frickin' lasers.
Frickin' sharks with frickin' laser beams
Well,
on their
yeah,
heads.
if you want to call Australian teenagers sharks, yeah. And
no, it's just frickin' laser
they're like
beams.
wrist-mounted lasers. Yeah. And like the way he takes over the city is he gets everyone addicted to VR.
Surely he could just take it over with his frickin' laser
they
beams.
do that, but the way they sort of keep everyone in line is they get them addicted to VR. And they like re-establish technology and stuff. But this is where it truly, truly jumps the whale shark.
There's more?
This is where it jumps the whale shark. Through the power of friendship, the mole rats heal the evil techno guy's legs.
Oh god.
Yeah. The evil, sometimes friend, sometimes foe, sometimes Lex's partner, girl who's been there since the beginning, was actually a pretty good villainess.
I think I liked her, yeah. Was she like the one who was like in charge of the
Yeah, she was one of the demon dogs.
Because I remember having a crush on like one of the girls. Or maybe
there was like
several.
3 of them. They were white chicks with dreads. That's how tacky.
I think it was the one who was. I think it was the one who was in charge. Who I had a bit of a crush on. Something about girls in positions of power. I don't know.
And
yeah, something about that might have influenced.
We haven't actually. Actually, that reminds me of the weird stuff in season 1 and 2 that we forgot about. We forgot about Zoot. I'll get back to that after this.
Okay.
So she does a face turn for the umpteenth billionth time.
I can never remember if it's face turn. Does she start off as a face and become a heel, or does she become?
I don't know. It's just a term for turning sides for me. So she.
I know because you have like a heel face, and then you have a you have a heel face turn. I don't know. It's wrestling. Just say she goes from bad to good, or
she goes from good to bad for the umpteenth billion time, because drama with Lex, I guess, and takes over the techno guys for no real reason. And that's where I stopped watching it. Not due to sort of reasons of the show being bad, but due to life stuff.
So they heal the crippled kid's legs through friendship.
The logic I remember at the time was he jumped off a building trying to fly when he was a kid, because it's been such a long time that kids have grown up in this post-plague society, right? And was told he would never walk again by a post-plague doctor. So take that for what you will. And then basically the mole rats go, well, post-plague doctors are terrible. What if you can walk? Not to mention the fact your legs would have been atrophied, but you know. And the fact that you've never been able to move them since. And then he does.
So it's basically suggesting that it was all psychological and stuff.
Which I know is sometimes a thing, but it's such a crappy bit of writing.
But okay, so after he's healed, like this dreaded leather-wearing chick, who I may or may not have had a crush on, I'll have to watch it again to be sure, then just kind of says like, right, so now that this guy isn't crippled anymore, I'm going to take control of his army.
Pretty much.
And then she does. And they're all cool with that.
I mean, there's a bit more to it, but it's sort of, he becomes nice to the mole rats, and the techno guys don't like that, and I think they're actually called the technos. Because writing, who needs that?
Fair. So, okay,
But
okay.
I want to go back to the weird stuff from season 1.
Ah, yes, Zoot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay,
who
Zoot was the villain for season 1. And actually, it's this chick who was sort of first allied with Zoot. I'm looking at pictures of her now, and it's all coming back. It's also a really weirdly active tribe fan community, but anyway.
I wish I could I wish I could have like Firefox open while we were recording.
So,
ooh, I might be getting a computer soon.
So,
I might move away from it.
So he like has.
Wouldn't that be
He
exciting?
looked really cool. He sort of had like this peaked hat with goggles on it, and he rode around in a car, which was sort of a big deal in the first season. But then everyone had cars later on, and so he's evil, and they end up killing him. Right now, this is where it turns. The reason the cult worships the baby is because they think it's Zoot reincarnated.
My brain.
Yeah.
We don't want to be silent for too long, but
I think that's the biggest sharks they jumped. Though there was some really cool stuff in the early seasons, like there were slave markets and stuff. And I liked it when it was sort of more. It seemed to get kind of more organised in later seasons, but when it was sort of individual tribes hoarding supplies and fighting one another, I thought it was quite good. But sort of world building wise, the actual writing was terrible.
Well, right, so I kind of want to go back and watch it now.
Well, maybe you should try it.
Maybe I should. Sure, I could find it
Oh,
online
yeah.
somewhere. It's not going to be like all of these other things, which I think, I remember watching that when I was younger. Let's try to find it on the internet. Oh, look, it's absolutely nowhere.
Oh, come on. You found Cardcaptor Sakura quite easily.
Yeah, that's because it's had a DVD release.
The Tribe has had a DVD release.
Oh,
It
fair
regularly
enough.
comes up on my Amazon listing, and I'm like, no. Because I buy DVD box sets quite frequently.
So I think there are like a few things that didn't get DVD releases. Like maybe they had a VHS.
It's like
release,
Malcolm in the Middle.
or like one of those.
Malcolm in the Middle hasn't had a DVD release as far as I'm aware.
Really, but I think I managed to find that on perfectly legitimate torrenting.
But you see, there's a secondary
I found that.
DVD market I found. This is a convoluted story that involves Daria. Now, I love Daria as a cartoon. I think it's fucking great.
But because
Well, it was only released recently on DVD. Legitimately. You used to be able to buy bootleg DVDs of the entire season with the correct music, which you can't get on the current release.
I was going to say there was like lots of problems around it because MTV didn't.
Well, basically,
they used the music, but they couldn't release it on DVD because of copyright.
yeah,
or something
basically
along
what
those
bands
lines,
would do is they would sign up to have their song in an episode of Daria. You know, so this is like Smashing Pumpkins or R.E.M., that kind of stuff, when they were small. But because MTV is shit at contracts, they didn't have a clause in it for and all future releases. So now that these bands are huge and make billions of pounds, they're like, no, we want more money if you're going to do a DVD release. So MTV basically sat on the property and did nothing with it. So the only way you could get Daria was on these bootleg DVDs. Same with Malcolm in the Middle and other stuff. Which would just be some guy who had recorded them on VHS at the time, had then put them onto his computer and was made it and burned a DVD for you.
which is, I don't know. It's sketchy, but like if they're not going to produce the content, then. So was there music problems with Malcolm in the Middle as well?
I don't know why they haven't produced.
Was
No,
that
that
MTV?
was Fox, I think. I might be wrong.
Can't remember.
I shall Google it because I have that power.
Because yeah, that Malcolm in the Middle was hella
I
popular.
remember watching it on Sky.
I think like growing up, I mostly only had like channels like 1 to
Yeah,
4,
I only
5 on certain TVs if I could get the tuning just right.
well, I can't see them having music copyright problems because They Might Be Giants were pretty awesome.
And that was just like the intro. That was just one song. It wasn't like a new song
Yeah, it
every
was
episode.
both opening and closing. No, it was produced by Fox. I mean, as far as I'm aware, they've never... From what I can see, they still haven't released it. Yeah, so... Okay, the reason they list it is music clearance rights. So... but that's only in America.
One sec, my mic is going crazy. I'll try.
Yeah.
Oh no, wait,
Yeah.
it's gone.
So you can't buy Malcolm in the Middle in Region 1, but you can now buy. But you can have the complete one in Regions 2 and 4.
Are we Region 2?
With PAL. So we can have it, but the Americans. Yeah.
Screw them.
Yeah, we can have it as is. They can only have season 1. So sucks to be America. For once. So yeah. That's TV stuff we've talked about.
Yeah.
Actually,
we've gone across.
Actually,
the
one
board.
other show that hasn't had a proper DVD release: Legendary Adventures of Hercules. Yeah.
Really? Well, it was on Netflix. I remember watching quite a bit on Netflix.
Yeah, it hasn't had a recent DVD release. Like they had one in 2003, maybe, but they haven't updated it since then, like they have with most other shows.
Because Xena kind of gets all of the reprints,
That's because Xena is better than Hercules. Let's be fair.
Shut your whole mouth.
Hey, look, I love Hercules as much as the next man. I truly do. But Xena was better.
Yeah, just assume that I'm clever and witty enough to make some kind of joke about me not being gay, but rather kind of watch Kevin Sorbo get hot and sweaty rather than whoever plays
Lucy
Xena,
Lawless.
Do exactly the same
Lucy
thing.
Lawless. And
Lucy Lawless. I do actually.
Let's
know
be
that.
fair.
Yeah.
Kevin Sorbo is ripped. I mean,
He is.
he's also weirdly Christian now, which is a shame.
Has he not always been weirdly Christian?
He's in a...
Because, well, I know that he's been doing weirdly Christian things, like God's
Yeah,
Not
that's
Dead.
the thing I'm thinking of,
God
which
is-
was a recent movie.
Yeah, but
Yeah, though Andromeda got a full box set release, which I think is a
That's cool.
superior series to Hercules.
again, that was something which I watched on Netflix, and when I kind of stopped paying for Netflix, I kind of stopped watching Andromeda, which is a shame because I did really like it. It's Gene Roddenberry.
Well, it's
Who
Gene
could we not- who could not
Roddenberry's
like it?
notes. He wasn't directly involved. He was already dead by that point. But
I think I remember hearing about that as well. I just remember that it was titled like Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda.
it was. It was a really well put together show. I think it gets a lot of crap, but I liked it.
Well, yeah, because you can like tell that it did. Well, not really cut corners, but it didn't
The budget.
really have all of the
Especially in
essentially,
later seasons.
There was, but it like all of the imagination and the world building and all of the
And
like acting talent also kind of wasn't perfect.
I don't know,
but
the core
it was-
cast were pretty good.
yeah, but it was just I think it's like mainly just like the setting and the imagination and the love.
I mean,
That's what kind of
I
makes
mean,
it work.
well, let's go through the cast. Kevin Sorbo as Dylan Hunt.
Mostly good.
He was a bit Mary Sewish at times.
Yeah, a bit. Not much, just
then
a bit. I remember in the first episode, I know that it was kind of a joke, but it kind of does fit. Like where the guy who has like the rash, the techno guy, is like he's like some kind of Greek god or something.
Okay.
Was it Jinx?
Well, let's go. I'll go through the Wikipedia
Oh.
list. Then there's Lisa Ryder as Becca Valentine, captain of the Eureka Maru and first officer of the Andromeda Ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
She was...
She was the tomboy kind of character. Which it feels like it's been like a year or so since I've watched Andromeda as well.
I've watched this show so many times. I count it as an unofficial Star Trek series, practically.
And Elseworlds. Like where the Federation doesn't come to be.
Yeah, kind of.
And then, or it kind of does, but then the Vulcans screw it up. Because that's basically what happens.
Well, yeah, it's kind of... And then there's the Magog. You know, it's like, what if Kirk had to deal with the Borg? So Becca Valentine, tomboyish,
I remember the Magog.
kind of dull.
Kind of Starbuck.
Starbuck, but yeah, actually very Starbuck with the lack of personality. Tir Anasazi, played by Keith Hamilton Cobb. He was the Nietzschean for the first 3 seasons. That guy always wore chainmail dreadlocks. Always seemed kind of stoned and not wanting to be there.
I don't remember him.
Really?
You say seasons 1 to 3, because I think I only saw the first season, and maybe not even.
Well, he was seasons 1 to 4, but he was a villain in 4. Okay.
Yeah, all like the only image that I can get up when you say like black guy chainmail, even though he's not black, is I can't even remember his name, but he was in Stargate Atlantis. He was the Dothraki.
Yeah. Yes, and very similar character actually.
And he's also going to be the King of Atlantis.
Yeah, but I actually think he's a really good actor, so... Because that basically takes that sort of archetype of the silent, brooding guy, you know, muscular guy, and then give him a bit more depth. He certainly had a lot more physical depth. I wish I could remember the actor's name. But that Atlantis character is very similar, and had a really cool gun. Then we have Seamus Zelazny Harper, played by Gordon Michael Woolvett, who was the chief engineer.
Mm-hmm. I remember that guy as well. He starts off with like the rash that apparently can be cured by ancient medical knowledge. It didn't mutate or anything. Maybe it did, and that's... But then...
They have medical nanobots, they can do magic. Yeah, he was kind of the wacky character who had a dark side.
Yeah.
Then we have Trance Gemini, played by Laura Bertram. Purple kooky chick.
She was the Manic Pixie.
Quite literally.
I liked her.
You have a thing for Manic Pixie girls.
At times.
Mainly all the time.
No, like most of the time I do like them, but sometimes they do just...
I mean,
it's a fine line. It's a fine line you have to tread.
She was the character who went through the most changes and was the least well-defined. Like, she had weird time-seeing abilities and also completely redesigned her character 3 times. Like, she starts off purple and ends up gold.
Yeah. I can't really remember much about her, but there's like this one where they go to like this slum planet, and Starbuck, because I can't remember her name.
Becca.
Becca. She gets high on like pixie dust or something. There's some kind of drug that's... And then she's just like, "What are you?"
Yeah, I remember that episode. That's actually a later season episode.
Maybe I did watch later seasons then, who knows.
Then you have Rev Bem, played by Brent Strait. The Magog science officer / priest. He was
Oh yeah, I do remember.
Yeah, he was
only
in the first 2 seasons.
He had like poisonous barbs and stuff.
And yeah, could spray like goo into people's faces.
Yeah.
He was actually one of the more fun characters that they never really did.
Yeah, he was fun. It's a shame that I kind of completely forgot
about him. They never really did anything with him, though. Then we have the Andromeda Ascendant herself, Romy, played by Lexa Dong, or Lexa Doug.
She was cool. She was
I think she's a great actress, and I've actually kind of watched a lot of her stuff now. Mm-hmm. And...
Because didn't she, like, fall in love with Kevin Sorbo or something?
No, she's actually married to Daniel from Stargate. Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
like the
there was,
character, like the shit
yeah, there was
AI
kind of that underlying
fell in
thing
love.
that they were in love. Or that, and there was also a weird thing that they were kind of like three Rommies. Because there was Romy the android, which is the physical one, which is the one that walks around and does stuff. Then there's the hologram Romy, who appears and basically annoys people. Then there's the Romy on the screen. And there's a number of scenes throughout the series where the three of them have an argument.
I don't remember that. That sounds.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, she's awesome.
awesome.
There's some really good episodes with just her. Like, there's one where she's infiltrating a planet to rescue an AI. And she just kicks ass in that episode. Sort of levels of ass kicking that reach like Farscape levels.
I do actually really like. I want to go back and watch that again now.
Then we have Telemachus Rade, who only appeared in the last 2 seasons, played by Steve Bakic, though he was in the first episode. Yes, as a different character, also called Rade. Because
Was he Kevin Sorbo's like best friend, who was in love with his wife,
and who betrayed him to the Nietzscheans?
Yeah.
Which I quite like the idea of genetic reincarnation. I think that's a really cool concept. Basically, the idea is Nietzscheans are a strand of humanity that have been altered to be superior in every possible way, and they're meant to be like poet warriors. But because their gene pool is so small, there's the possibility of genetic reincarnation. So Telemachus Rade is the reincarnation of the other Rade, who was Dylan's best friend in the past. And he actually he appeared in Hercules and Xena quite a bit. Not Telemachus, but the actor.
Yeah.
That would be cool if it was. We have time travel on the show.
Wormholes.
There's time travel that could happen. And then for season 5, there was Doyle, played by Brandy Ledford, which was a boring ass character that was basically Harper's finally getting to have his own sex doll.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, man. I really like this show.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's basically been our theme for this episode. Just old rubbish that we used to watch and love, and just.
Oh, he was on Battlestar as well.
We should go watch again.
The guy who played Rade was on Battlestar as well.
So he's quite an accomplished.
Yeah, he's done a lot. Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff, and he was in Supernatural. That great episode.
I should watch Supernatural. I've like caught a couple of episodes, and it does seem pretty good, but I don't know. I just never kind of got around. I think it's because it's like lots of these things that were kind of like on when I was younger. I watched them while they were on TV, so I missed lots. And like Supernatural, I'd watch when it was on TV, so I kind of kept missing things.
Whereas I'll often just sit down and watch a series for a while, and I watched Supernatural for quite a while. I can't remember what season I got up to. Oh, it was when one of them came back from hell. Can't remember which season that was. But there's a really good episode where, because Loki's in this universe, the main characters get put into TV, and they make a bunch of.
I think I've heard about that episode.
Because there's a bunch of sort of links to other series in Supernatural. So like there's characters who are kind of play the same character in other shows that are completely different. Like there's a link between Supernatural and Grey's Anatomy. So that's what they do in this episode, is they sort of play puns on different connections to the show. And he's in the Grey's Anatomy segment as Dr. Sexy.
Okay.
I will admit, I sat down and watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy. Because, fuck you, it was fun.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything. It probably was. It was a very popular TV show. It would be.
It's still.
It's still going on. Man,
I'm pretty sure
that was on when I was young.
You're still young, Daniel.
I know. Another thing on the Facebooks I kind of saw. It's like when you were young, you would kind of think that like people in their 20s were adults, and now you're 23, and you're just trying not to starve. Well, it was something along those lines.
I'm not an adult. Though actually, I will say this about Supernatural. There's one episode that did legitimately scare me, and still sticks with me.
Oh.
But I think it was probably much sort of one of those things where it's literally just me and only me who would be terrified by it. Because I have weird fears.
Yeah. You're an enigma.
Wrapped in a sweater, wrapped in a parcel, wrapped in a riddle. Sorry,
Yeah, I don't know. So, are we going to try and call it a day here? It's getting close to our... I think we've already gone over an hour and it's coming close to
well,
our
I've
deadline.
actually got my food sitting right here, so...
Okay, so we should probably... We can't keep pizza waiting.
You know, pizza's the closest thing I have to a god, so...
I still haven't researched all of that sandwich stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was one joke I made once. It became such a thing. Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so we've been rambling about television mainly. We never did get back to Teen Titans Go, and we never did get back to Steven Universe. We might be able to talk about it later. But thank you for all listening. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe it's better, maybe it's worse than our Steven Universe Rewatch podcast, but time will tell. And we'll keep doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you all again next week.
Bye-bye.
Good night.